Hi guys, just checking I've got my volume turned up because stupidly I don't think I have. Okay, here we go. Yeah, hi guys, hope you're well. It's time for another video, and this week, excuse me, I'm a little bit late because I've just been finishing off a call helping someone with their career and identifying their strengths, which is absolutely fantastic. Absolutely love that, helping people getting the transformations in their career and recognizing the strengths within you, because it's so often easy to discount our strengths and our skills and our attributes. And with that in mind, I'm going to do a short video tonight on imposter syndrome and what it is. Because you may have seen I've been talking about this lately, and it's something that comes up time and time again in coaching sessions, and people actually quote imposter syndrome to me and say, do you know what, hi Julie, nice to see you again, hope you're well. So often people say to me directly, I feel such a fraud, I feel like an imposter. So it's such a well-known phenomena in this day and age that people do feel like a fraud, and it's actually quite common. There's studies to show that around 70% of professionals actually feel that they are a fraud. You know, they feel that, you know, what this is about is that you doubt your own attributes, your own competencies and your own skills, and you feel that any success you may have had, and this particularly can relate to career success or promotions or a new role, is a fluke. It's almost like, oh, if they really knew about me, they wouldn't have given me this job, or, you know, this has just happened by circumstance. This wasn't meant to happen. It's a complete mistake. If you know, I am going to be found out. So it is an actual thing, and there's so many like studies on it. You know, I think it was first identified in about 1978 by a bunch of psychologists that studied people and kind of coined the phrase imposter syndrome. So it was in 1978 that it really sort of gained traction, and it is something that comes up a lot in coaching, especially when people are starting up a new business, or they're, you know, I was talking to a client last night, and he was saying, well, you know, I'm moving into this, how do I do this? I feel like I'm an imposter, I'm this, that and the other. It's like, no, you've qualified, you've got all the skills and experience. It's just because this is something new and you're outside of your comfort zone. So sometimes it can be about that kind of lack of confidence we have, and it's really, like I say, that feeling of you doubt your own abilities, you kind of feel that you are, you internalize that fear and feel like if people knew what you were really like or knew about you, they would never have given you this job. But it is a psychological pattern that needs to be broken. And so even people that have achieved great things in their career might suffer from imposter syndrome now and again. It's quite prevalent in our careers, as I've mentioned, and it's just that feeling of, I'm going to be found out, I feel like a fraud. And you know, there are different types of imposters and imposter syndromes, but it is, you know, an actual thing, and it is something that people suffer with. About 70% of people suffer with, and it's been studied quite extensively. And it's just kind of that self-doubt and lack of belief in your own skills and abilities to do something. That's what it is. And there's different kinds of imposters. There's different kinds of traits, and perhaps you'll recognise some of these. There's somebody who is the perfectionist imposter. That person is somebody where everything has to be done to perfection, to the very best. It has to be 100%. And that's because underneath that, there's a self-doubt about that person's capabilities. There's something around the expert, you know, the person that is, you know, they've been told you're an expert in this field, but you play yourself down and berate yourself because you feel like you don't deserve that label. So there is the expert imposter. There is the soloist imposter. The soloist imposter believes they've got to do everything by themselves, quite closely linked to perfectionism, if you can see that. You know, it's like, I have to do it all myself, it has to be right, so I'm going to do it all by myself, rather than like delegating it to my team, because maybe we're scared of letting go. Maybe we're scared of letting go of that role and those activities that are familiar with us and trusting other people. the superwoman, and it could even be the superman. You know, the person, I don't know if this resonates, but you know, you feel like you've got to fix everything, do everything. Women really, I've noticed when I've coached women and they're kind of coming back to work after having had children, that can be a really difficult transition, and that lack of confidence around, I've been out of the workplace, I did have a really good career, but I don't feel like that's me anymore because I've had this other identity, is really common as well. And you know, there's the other one about the great idea imposter, somebody that has to have a fantastic idea all the time, you know, and it's like if I don't come up with an idea in a meeting, or if I don't come up with an idea quickly, I am an imposter. So there are many different types of imposters, and I think it's actually worth thinking, oh right, yeah, not trusting people, yeah, I mean that could be perfectionism, it could be superwoman, it could be a combination, all of those things. And sometimes it's just about learning to let go as well. Sometimes if we move into a position of leadership, what we want to do is hang on to the stuff that's familiar to us because we're scared of trying something new. And perhaps we don't quite understand what's expected of us. And that's where talking to your manager, or if it's your business, defining what kind of role you're going to have in your business is really important. So sitting down with your manager and saying, look, what is it you expect of me? Understanding as well, what are the development programs that are in place in your organization, for example, because we don't ever go into a business, we don't even go into our personal relationships that we've had for many years, or our careers, we don't go into a promotion being the finished product. That's just the start. The reason you've got that role, the reason this thing has happened, is because somebody has noticed your skills and your strength. And you need to start noticing why you got that role as well. What are your key skills and strengths? Because you've been given that for a reason. It's not a fluke. It's because somebody said, you know what, I think this person can handle it. But you don't stop there. You keep developing. And if you're really struggling with it, then obviously speak to a coach, speak to a mentor, speak to a counsellor, speak to your line manager, somebody you trust. And understand, you know, what skills can I develop? What skills do I feel I'm lacking? Because sometimes it's just a question of understanding that we are constantly learning. Just because you've been promoted doesn't mean you've stopped there, that's it, you're a fully fledged leader. That is literally the start of the journey. And all good leaders are always learning, developing, acquiring new skills, trying new things. That's what good leadership is, whether that's your own personal leadership or whether it's your leadership in your career. And you know, when we come into, let's just say, a romantic relationship or a personal relationship, we're not complete, we're not done. We're going to learn we might feel a bit more vulnerable in this relationship because it's a new relationship. Perhaps that relationship is going to ask us to improve certain skills, like communication skills. We're never finished, we're never done. It's all a journey, right? So that's key as well. So understanding what skills you need to acquire, because it is all an ongoing process and that you'll never complete, you're never fully done. So have that conversation with your boss or your line manager. And at the same time, with that goes the fact of accepting, do you know what? It's okay to be new. And when we're new at something, we feel very self-conscious, and that's when the doubts can creep in. So we have to watch that monkey mind, that chatter might be getting carried away, and accept it's okay not to know everything. That being new is great if you're starting career, changing career. It's an opportunity, and see what opportunities unfold in this new position that you have. You know, it's going to open up new questions, new way of doing things, new learnings. You're going to have a new team potentially that are going to show up different ways of working, or how you need to develop as a leader or a manager. So it's okay not to know everything. You can't know everything. It's just not realistic. It's okay not to know everything, and it's okay to be the new person. And it's okay to take your time adjusting to a situation. Let's say a career, a new role. It's completely okay to have sit down and write down, okay, over the next 30, 60, 90 days, what are the skills that I think I need to boost for this role? Let me write out this kind of development plan and this journey that I'm going to take on. All the Roman emperors used to have a 90-day plan. So we need our own 90-day plan to sort of understand, how am I going to settle into this role? And sometimes it's not about steaming in and doing things. It's about understanding our current strengths. So once we start noticing one strength or two strengths, we're going to start noticing more. and understanding what training and development we need to go on, understanding that if we're leading a team for the first time, asking, you know, what does that team want from you? How do they want to be led? How do you want to be a leader? So understand that, you know, we're never fully done. It's okay to be new. It's okay not to understand everything or know everything. And that sometimes, you know, when I talk about having a plan to settle into something and identify where you do need some new skills or you want some new skills, right? Part of the leadership journey, part of what good leaders do all the time. They don't stop, they keep learning, they keep reading. That learning is sometimes more important than doing. So yes, we want to perform to the highest of our abilities, but sometimes learning, you know, is about sometimes learning through our mistakes. You know, perhaps we didn't do that quite as well, but I don't want you to like personalize that for yourself. Just understand that actually learning is just as important as performing. So it's not always about what you're churning out, how you're churning it out, but actually learning as well. So focus on what you can learn, what you can adapt, what skills you can acquire where you are. So there's loads of different techniques there for you to help sort of think about, you know, how you tackle imposter syndrome. But it is that kind of fraudulent feeling. And what I really want you to do, you know, is start to observe. I really like sort of keeping journals and notes because it allows us to look back and reflect and think, oh God, you know what, I've been in this situation before. This is happening a lot. But think about those particular situations where you feel vulnerable, where you feel, oh, I feel like a fraud, I feel like an imposter. Are there particular aspects of your role, your job, your career, your new position, your business, even your relationship, where you feel, oh, I feel a bit exposed here? Are there recurrent themes? Is it, you know, for example, a lot of people that get promoted are suddenly being asked to present more. You know, is it that you feel, I'm just not a good presenter, I don't have gravitas? That doesn't mean you're a fraud, it just means maybe there's some skills development there in terms of speaking, having influence, how you carry your voice. So have a think about those different times where you do feel, you know, are there recurrent themes there? Are there those red threads? And obviously it goes without saying, watching your mind chatter in terms of flipping that negative mind chatter into something more positive. So, you know, if you hear those phrases and hear yourself thinking, oh, I'm a fraud, I'm going to get found out, what if they really knew, is to say, whoa, 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 let's stop. I got this job for a reason and I am going to progress. I'm going to learn what I need to learn. I am on a journey. I am more than capable and confident in my role. I am growing in confidence. So use that self-talk to empower you. And if you keep doing that, you will start to alleviate these kind of negative thoughts, this negative chatter that's running through your mind like a broken record. You know, and if this imposter syndrome, if it doesn't go away, then I'd advise you to speak to someone, whether that's a coach, a mentor, a buddy, somebody like that. You know, really start and use, you know, have a look at your thoughts that you've been tracking and where you do feel exposed, and do get some help on that, because sometimes we just need to break it down a bit more. Sometimes it can relate to things that we were told when we were younger. You know, perhaps we were told when we were younger, do you know what, you're the good one, you're the quiet one. We were given a label, and perhaps that label, we're still carrying it around with us, but that label doesn't really serve us anymore. Good evening. It doesn't serve us anymore. So we've internalized that label that we've been given by our friends and our family, and we thought, well, unless I'm the quiet one or the clever one, then if I'm not that, what am I? Do you know what I mean? So sometimes we get these labels and these you know, things, names put on us, and they don't really belong to us. It's just something that somebody says. They kind of put us in a box. So sometimes we just have to reframe that, and it's really important to reframe that and talk about it with someone. So it's just kind of to offload that feeling of inadequacy, that despite the evidence that you are good at what you do have strengths, we still have that feeling of fraudulence, that intellectual fraudulence that overrides any like feelings of success. You know, and people of all different levels of success have it. You know, it's something that happens to people, and it does need to be addressed. You know, it's okay sometimes, you know, naturally to have it when you are being promoted. It's natural to feel out of your depth, but there's a difference between feeling out of your depth and realising, do you know what, there's some skills and stuff I need to learn to feel more confident in what I'm doing and as part of my journey, rather than, oh my God, I'm completely inadequate. This is about me, you know, it's about me in my entirety. So we really need to like break through those feelings of self-doubt, of inadequacy, because it's only going to hold you back. What it might be is actually realising, do you know what, there's some new skills I need to learn, and actually I need to talk to myself in a bit more of a kinder way. And, you know, there is another school of thought around this concept of fake it until you make it. I prefer to say acting as if rather than fake it till you make it. So if you think about, okay, what would somebody who was feeling confident and starting to feel more confident in this role, what would they be doing? What would they be saying? How would they be carrying themselves? What information would they be seeking? You know, then, you know, channel that person, channel a role model, and see if you can carry yourself in a certain way, dress the part, listen to the language that's used in the organisation, try and speak to that, build those relationships, get to know people, understand how things get done, so you can equip yourself in the right way to move forward in your role and career. And you know, be careful of that perfectionism, you know, because that perfectionism can be a kind of result of feeling not quite good enough, you know, that you feel fraudulent, that you have to consistently and constantly drive yourself to excel. And I work with a lot of people in this area, and it completely burns them out. And if you are moving into a role where you are delegating, you've got to kind of learn to let go of the old job, understand what leadership is, so you can step into your new role. And sometimes as well, we have these kind of rules that we say to ourselves, such as, oh, I should always know the answer, or it's a weakness to ask for help. Again, little phrases like that creep in. We want to rewire those, because that's not true. Strong people ask for help. Strong people ask, you know, how do things get done around here? That's a sign of confidence, you know, because otherwise we're just limiting ourselves, but not by not asking the right questions. Every organisation's different, every role's different, every relationship's different. So you need to kind of figure out the blueprint of how things get done. So yeah, so I've covered quite a lot tonight. I've covered what the imposter syndrome is, that it's really, really common, that about 70% of people suffer it at one point or another in their career. It's been studied by psychologists for many decades now, around this fraudulent feeling, this self-doubt, which is, you know, it can become quite, you know, we can internalize that, so it paralyzes us. And if you are feeling like that, then sometimes you know, it's about rewiring your thinking, acquiring new skills, getting some leadership development, getting some help, not throwing out these rules about I must always do this, I must always do that. So rewrite that pattern and think about things. Are you the perfectionist? You know, does it always have to be done your way or the highway? Are you the expert, you know, who has to come up with something but you don't feel you can, so, you know, you feel a bit deflated? Are you the superwoman or superman that has to take care of everything and make sure everybody's okay because you underneath it you feel a bit inadequate? You know, are you the person you think, oh my God, I've got to have this great idea in a meeting, otherwise, you know, I'm going to be a fraud, I'm going to be exposed. You know, sometimes the best people in the meetings I've met are the people that say the least, because we have got one mouth, two ears, and we should use them in that proportion. So there's all these different types of imposter syndrome, but it is something that people do find as they switch careers. And sometimes what it is like thinking about, do you know what, it's not about that, it's not about these old labels that I've maybe picked up, it's about what do I need to learn to perform my role to the best of its ability, and not making it, you know, we can all be fearful when we start a new role, but kind of take a deep breath and think, okay, well, how do I move forward bit by bit? So it's a fascinating subject. I'm going to do a bit more on imposter syndrome next week, about some more tips and techniques about how you can rewire your thinking, how you can throw away the rule book and sort of overcome imposter syndrome. So that was it for this evening. I hope you all have a fantastic weekend, whatever you're doing. Are you doing anything nice, Julie? Just wondering if you're up to anything exciting. I might be going down to the Marchment Arms later. It's just for a quick drink, and I think Stephen will recognise that name as well, the Marchment Arms. Well, I hope I can get a table. So whatever you're doing, I hope you have a lovely weekend, and thanks for watching. I'll post this on my page. If there's anything you want me to cover as a topic, please let me know, but I will be doing a bit more on Imposter Syndrome next week because it's a big old topic. Oh, no plans at the moment. Oh, you still got time? Sometimes it's nice to be spontaneous, see what flies in, eh? Don't have to plan everything. All right, guys. Oh, here we go. Let's just have a look at your comment here, Julie. Did a personality test an eagle? What did the eagle mean, Julie? I'm actually... Oh, I love what you've just written there. Yeah. That's a label you want to get rid of. You know, that word is used in so many different ways, particularly with women, and we can be our own worst critic. You know, we can call ourselves all sorts of names that our best friend wouldn't say to us, or our mother wouldn't say to us. So yeah, definitely, it's not about that word. It's about, you know, for example, I've done lots of personality tests, and I come out, surprise, surprise, as quite an assertive person. That's worked very well for me in business. It's not the entirety of who I am. I'm a very outgoing, bubbly, friendly person, but I do have that kind of driver energy. So there'll always be some kind of science behind that, and it's best to see those things as, okay, so you've described the person, how you came out in the personality test, looking at that and thinking, okay, so if I am this type, yeah, but so that getting to that point is that those are strengths, that archetype, the eagle that you've called it, that has some strengths. Sometimes what happens, if we overplay our strengths, they become, especially when we're under pressure, we overplay our strengths and they become a bit more, they come to the fore a bit more. So for example, I am, when I'm under pressure, similar to you, dynamic, driven, super organised. When I was leading teams, I had to be, and I still have to be careful that when I'm busy, I'm not coming across as a bit too bullish and a bit like bang, 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 bang. But the good news is you've got that awareness now, and hopefully, I'm hoping that the test they gave you some information about how you can modify some of those behaviours, or how you can just catch it and go, okay, I realise I'm under the cosh here, I'm perhaps being like this, how can I dial it down and just make sure I'm not overplaying those strengths, but maybe I can bring in some other strengths, because I'm sure there were some other strengths that were, you know, maybe there was compassion, being people orientated, dial those up a bit more to kind of remove the other bits that might come across in the less positive way, if that makes sense. So it's all about balancing. Oh, Amanda's joined us. I'm just finishing, Amanda. How are you? How's life in Texas? Are you in Texas still? Have I just made that up? But yeah, I've just been talking about imposter syndrome. Oh, okay. So Julie, this report was 8 pages long and gave a lot of positive info. Brilliant. That's good. It's really important that you've got actionable steps. And I mean, I've had psychometric profiling before. I've done DISC, I've done insights. They pretty much come out the same. And I still refer to those now, because when we're under pressure, we do tend to overplay certain characteristics, you know, because we are short of time, under pressure. So those behaviours and characteristics that are habits for us, they really come out to a more extreme way when we're under pressure. So, and it's different for everybody, you know, and yeah, interesting. Anyway, I'm gonna knock off now, as they say, and I'm gonna post this video. It's all about imposter syndrome. I'm gonna do another one next, well, I'm either going to do another live next Friday at 5:30, or I'm going to post a video, because I think I've got to do some coaching next Friday evening. So, but it will be something else on imposter syndrome and other tools and techniques to get away from this fraudulent feeling that we sometimes have, where we self-doubt, we doubt our own skills and capabilities, and realise actually this is just a sign of being new at something, and it's important to really reflect on the skills and strengths we do have and the skills and strengths we need to acquire. So I'll cover more of that next week, how you can reframe your thinking and ditch some of those labels that we put on ourselves, such as, oh, I'm the clever one, I'm this, I'm that, because those are all things we tend to try and live up to. So we need to kind of drop some of those labels, drop some of the perfectionism, drop some of the superwoman syndrome, because those are all signs of like, oh, I've got to be like amazing and on all the time. Sometimes we just all need to like give ourselves a break. So I'll post this video now and I'll see you soon. Thanks for watching. Take care. Bye.